Welcome to Dad's DeFi Space. I'm Kevin, and I'm so grateful you've taken some time out of your day to learn a little bit more about crypto and DeFi. But before we begin, I want to say this first. Please remember, none of this is financial advice, and I am not a financial advisor. Please do your own research and never, ever invest more than you can afford to lose. We are going to be looking at something interesting in the crypto and DeFi markets today. Please like and subscribe and ping that notification bell. And remember to check out dadsdefispace.org to learn more about crypto and DeFi, free articles, free course, and a monthly newsletter. Also, find us over on X at CryptoZone1013 and on Telegram, Dad DeFi 1013. And check out our links below, including Weeks, $30,000 of USDT rewards, and Crypto Labs research, 20% off your first month. Tell them Dad's DeFi Space sent you for $50 USDT. Now, let's get to today's video. So, we are at CoinMarketCap, and I wanted to take a look at just general sentiment. I know people are getting more and more excited when is alt season. If they're not excited, they're scared it's not going to happen. But if you take a look at the altcoin season index, which I'm trying to load up on the screen right now. There we go. The altcoin season index is sitting at 26, which is still on the edge of Bitcoin season, not near altcoin season. And it is what it is, guys and girls. Our altcoins have been bleeding, and that is just how it's been. But if you take a look over the last 100 days, we do have some high performing altcoins, right? Fartcoin, 400%. Fartcoin, are you kidding me? This is why my folks don't believe me when I say that you can do pretty good in this space if you know what you're doing. Virtual 100%, Hyper 95. We got Brett, another meme, Pepe, meme token, XRM, old dinosaur token, money payments and stuff. That was Stella Network anyway. Ooh, core up 70%. We might have to check that because I've been looking to unload what small position I have in core. I don't think I'm going to keep that one, although we may wait and see about that one. But altcoin season says we are in Bitcoin season. We're going to look at some charts that I think will prove that point to you if you don't already understand that. So let's take a look at the charts. Now we're looking at Bitcoin, but I also wanted to take a look at two other things first. Number one, dollar's looking weak as hell. Yeah, ever since Trump came in office. And you can see the massive downtrend the dollar has been in from here to here. A lot. So, those of us who went into the euro digitally or not digitally, y'all are probably sitting pretty right now as far as if you were in any liquidity positions that were EURC, USDC, USDT, whatever. Now, what I wanted to which by the way, when the dollar index falls, usually we see some pumps, but as the dollar gets stronger, usually that's people going back into the dollar, which usually stocks, crypto, stuff like that goes down. Not always, of course, because right now a lot of currencies are moving in between currencies, and that's a whole nother story right there. Just something to consider, something to think about, actually. Hold on one second. Now, the final thing that I want to look at before we actually get into what you all really want, which are some crypto charts. I'm going to try to fix the lighting in here. It wasn't looking too hot. So we're going to take a look now at SPX, right? We're just looking at the S&P 500 on the daily. You can see the massive gaps that have been occurring, very bullish. Obviously, we know when you look at gaps, we tend to fill them. If we look at the weekly, zoom out a little bit, you can see we are above the bull market support band. If I put on the 200 MA, we're going to be above that. Now there could be a correction, like I said, if I go into a lower time frame, right? You can see that we may be building into a downtrend back down to around the 5,600 level. This is kind of high support on the S&P. If we get down below this, Bitcoin is going to bleed furiously. Altcoins will also bleed absolutely furiously. Just something to think about. And let's check one more thing here, because this is crazy. I'm very surprised that it seems that this is not working. Okay, I guess not. Well, we tried, right? Maybe some people will join the stream in a little bit, because I got some very interesting things we're going to talk about today. So let's share the live stream, see if anyone wants to come in. I'm also going to put this on within my private group. Like I said, if you really want to support the channel, please check out Dad's DeFi Space. .org. We publish articles every week on DeFi protocols, altcoin reviews, market updates, all kinds of things that I love to look into. See, I like to spend so much time diving into research, so you don't have to. It's logged me out, so I'm not going to be able to do this right now. I really wanted to share this with people within the group. Oh, well, once this loads in, I'll be able to do it, but we'll go ahead and get back to the charts. As I was saying, a lot of people are like, hey, this is a crypto channel, but you do need to pay attention to the traditional markets, especially the S&P 500 or NASDAQ, just the general stock market, the DYX, the dollar chart, and sometimes even paying attention to gold and commodities can be important. Just something to consider as you continue your DeFi investing game, crypto and DeFi investing game. All right, let's take a look at Bitcoin. Bitcoin got all the way up a few hours ago to 110,000, almost 110,400, which is absolutely awesome, because we love when Bitcoin is bullish, right? Now, I know you hear me talk a lot on the channel about my short positions, and some of that stuff is because I have so many long positions within spot, within different liquidity pools and lending positions. I'm basically long on so many things. I kind of consider those my hedges to an extent. Now, I'll talk about a trade we took earlier today that actually ended up being really good. And then a couple that we got stopped out on yesterday that we lost money on because, well, Bitcoin decided to do the opposite of what we thought. Because we never can predict the future. All you can do is determine the probability of something being likely to occur. And if it is likely to occur, that's when I would take the trade, right? So anyway, going back to the Bitcoin chart, right now Bitcoin is sitting at 109,745, and hold on one second. All right, hold on one second. All right, let's see if anyone else joins our live now that I posted within the private group, right? And if you're in the stream, check out the private group. I mean, we're always researching liquidity pools, trades, portfolio reviews, protocols, stuff that I don't necessarily write articles about, but just you can see what I'm doing in the market quicker than you're going to see it on YouTube anyway. All right, so let's put on some of the important indicators. I wanted to show the bull market support band. 1 second. Nice. Sorry, I got some trade notifications I'm going to need to check here in a minute. We might look at that on the air today since they're popping through. Why not, right? All right, so we got the bull market support band. That's not what I wanted to do. Hold on. There we go. Why is this not working for me? I have a couple of them on the chart. Let me just take off all the indicators because something's going. Okay. Let's try this one more time. I want land. Support bands. There we go. This is kind of one of the cleanest and easiest charts to look at, right? There we go. All right. So you can see I have all kinds of levels on this chart. You can see that Bitcoin basically took over the bull market support band approximately right here, right? And we are handedly above it. Green candle, green candle, green candle, green candle. And that's on the weekly. Look, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 green weekly candles. We're working on our 8th right now. That is nuts. So we'll have to see what the rest, we will have to see what the rest of this week has in store for us. And I didn't realize that my volume was muted. I wish someone would have let me know that. So I'd like to go back and just quickly discuss whatever was missed. So we're going to take a look. Originally, we looked at the DYX dollar index. Dollar index, massive downtrend below the bull market support band. It's been bleeding since Trump took office, pretty much. And that's why risk assets have been performing well right now. We need to keep an eye on this because if the dollar starts looking strong again, it wouldn't surprise me to see Bitcoin going back down. But a lot of this has to do with the tariff stuff going on with Trump right now. Now, you're probably wondering, why are we not looking at crypto? The DYX chart is an important chart to follow if you're going to trade and invest in cryptocurrency markets. But it's not the only chart we should be looking at. I also like to keep an eye on the S&P, which again is also looking bullish. We are bearish on the week, so we're going to have to wait and see what happens here. But go to the daily chart. We are down, yes. So this does concern me, and we have 1, 2, and then barely a green candle. So that was a kind of a weaky one. We need to keep an eye on this because we start breaking back below this price point around 56.80, 58.80, 58.75, then we could have a small correction in place. And people are out there, they're still screaming recession. Nobody really knows, but those market makers out there are going to use that news to their advantage. So we got to keep an eye on the charts. We got to keep an eye on the news and just keep an ear to the floor. All right, now the next thing I wanted to look at is actually go back and look at Bitcoin. We're going to talk about levels in just a minute, right? But I wanted to take a look at the bull market support band. I know this is a messy chart, but you can see the support band right here. And we are heavily above it. 1, 2, 3, 4, over a month, almost a month and a half now. I can remember our times below the bull market support band here and here. Everybody's screaming about how bearish it is. It's not so bearish anymore now, is it? Just something to think about as you make your decisions in this space. Now, I want to go to the daily chart. I want to talk about Bitcoin. So, Bitcoin is above our upper line in the sand, which is set at around 109,000. Okay, slightly below, excuse me. I was looking at the wrong line, 109,559. I always estimate, so we'll say 109,600. Now the price is only a few $100s below this. Now we need to keep an eye on this because we could still have a rejection. I'm running short right now on weeks. I'll show that to you in a minute. We actually shorted one coming out today that we'll talk about in a minute if you stay on the stream or keep watching. If you're watching it later, which most people do on my channel, which is fine, right? Now, taking a look at Bitcoin. Bitcoin is showing a lot of strength, even though we may have a light correction in the future. So if we can maintain strength above this green line around 109,000, and we can go up, come back down, hit it for support, and we can continue on with the bull. Be excited about that one, right? Now, the other thing that you need to consider is Bitcoin could get a rejection in here. And if we get rejected, we could easily head down definitely to the 106 level. And if we get rejected there, it would be all the way back down around 102.9, 102.8. That's what I am watching. Our next line in the sand, I just marked because it's a psychological level, and that would be 100K. If we break 100K, then I would expect to go all the way back down at least to 97, 96.8, around that area where we began this pump right here. And if we zoom out even more and we go to the weekly, you can see that this wick right here around 73, that's kind of my line in the sand. Why? If you zoom out really far, let me go to the monthly chart. This might, let me see this a little better, right? This red line right here, this is the prior top to the market cycle. If we break below this, it's over. It's over. But as long as we stay, in my opinion, above this yellow line around 73, 74,000, it's still the bull run. Now, I do not think we're going to correct down here. I'll say that again. Dad's DeFi space does not think we're going to correct down to 68, 72,000. It is a possibility, not what we're working with. Now, I could see us correcting down to 106, 102, maybe even in the lower 90s, maybe. It's getting close, and it's going to get really bullish soon, and you all need to be prepared for that. All right. I want to move on to our next chart. Now, we're going to be talking in the next section a little bit about altcoin season. All right. So going back to CoinMarketCap, we said earlier the altcoin season index is sitting at about 26. Okay. Altcoin season does not occur until we get above 75. All right. It is not alt season. But I believe there's some important charts we can look at. And I'm going to talk about the most important last, but we'll talk about the least important first. And that would be, first, we have the total 2 chart. The total 2 is everything minus Bitcoin. So you got ETH and all your major, large, and mid-cap alts. Now, looking at total market cap, we peaked at around 1.64. Our last was 1.7. So the cycle was over. We didn't even hit last cycle's top. I don't believe that it's over. I think we're going to pump ahead at some point. Now we may have to wait. I don't know yet, but this still can be within the market cycle theory. All these people say the 4-year cycle is broken. We do not have confirmation of that yet. I will say that again. We do not have confirmation yet that we have broken the 4-year cycle. So I'm still operating on that note. Now, taking a look at total market cap of total crypto market cap, right now we're sitting at about 1.2 trillion. We whipped up to 1.27. I'm waiting to see a breakout above the 1.3 trillion, or excuse me, yeah, 1.3 level, trillion dollars. Remember that also includes Ethereum. Another one you can look at is total 3. This one cuts Ethereum out. You're going to see a lot of similarities. I'm not going to take my fib levels off of this one, but the market cap slightly lower. You're missing Ethereum. but it's been performing quite well lately, almost as good as the total 2 chart, which isn't always the norm. But we have seen many things this cycle that have not been normal. Next, you have the others chart, or some people like to call the degens chart. Now, I want to go on the weekly, how I've been on the monthly. Makes it a little bit harder to look at. You can see our V-shaped recovery almost perfectly with this chart. Now, with this one right here, you can see we peaked out at around 452 billion. We've bottomed out around 175 billion dollars, and we're sitting right now at around 297 billion dollars. Now, once we get back above the 320-ish billion dollar range, altcoin season is back in check as far as I'm concerned. Anyway, let's now look at the chart you really should be looking at if you're concerned about, hey, when will we actually have altcoin season? Okay, when can we actually have it, right? So that chart, the one that is going to be the most important chart to keep an eye on. Yep, you guessed it. I've said it before. It's the Ethereum Bitcoin chart right here. Now, we're just going to pull, you know what? I'm going to just pull up the Bybit chart today. They've had Ethereum Bitcoin. They got a good amount of liquidity. It's not like the best out there, but it's good. And we're going to take a look at the chart. Take off this auto fit. All right. Now, what do you see? What do you see? Same thing we've always seen, a massively bearish chart, at least till now. Because what I'd really like to do, and we've talked about this many times before, about Ethereum Bitcoin's slow bleed down to the bottom. Really from, 2 years ago? September of 2022, all the way back to, well, now. We started our uptick at the very bottom. We were at 0.0176, and you're talking April 21st. You know what? This looks bullish, right? If you go down to the daily, it's going to look even more so that way. Look at that. That is a nice pump, right? From the bottom of the range to the top. Ethereum pretty much pumped 42%. So my ETH bags were loving that, but we started, like I said, timing is everything. And we started investing in ETH way back here. It was around 0.3 something, 0.4 something. So it would have been in this area. We have taken a massive dump since then. I mean, terrible. Lessons learned from this last cycle. Too many altcoin movements, too many altcoin trades that were too long term. I'm very grateful that I decided to keep almost 70% of my bag into Bitcoin. That was important because it would have looked even worse. But we went into altcoins even earlier, and then we were running like a 30 to 40% Bitcoin allocation. No, we should have stayed in the 60, 70 range the whole way through. Again, none of that's financial advice. It's just the way I see things. I'm not going to sit here and lie to you and tell you, hey, this is what happened. Because it didn't. We make mistakes when we trade. And usually that's emotional trading, right? You get upset. I made a loss. I'm going to get it back. It's like the gambler addicts, not dream, but conundrum. And you very much can play into that mentality in this space. You really can. So you got to be careful there. But anyway, enough life lessons. Back to Ethereum, right? this is awesome, but this is kind of starting to look like a little bit of a downtrend. So there may be a correction, right? And you can also see this within Bitcoin dominance, right? And I'll come back to the Ethereum Bitcoin chart in just a minute. I just realized that I was on the wrong thing. If you look right here, Bitcoin dominance, it had a massive drop off, right? Massive, but it's going back up. It's going back up. But Ethereum is slowly not bleeding as much or as fast, and it's starting to show an uptick. Not financial advice, but to me, as I said, for the past few months, it's been an excellent time to accumulate ETH, and we're still not accumulating right this second, but we will next dip for sure. Not financial advice. Anyway, all right. So what we need to be looking at as far as Ethereum and Bitcoin and its relationship to altcoin season is Ethereum and Bitcoin has to show strength. Has to show strength in Ethereum Bitcoin before altcoin's going to show strength. And I don't believe it's going to show strength until we get back into this trend zone. And when we really show strength, we're going to break above the trend zone. So right now, my point of probably taking a little bit of profits, a lot, is the same level I started buying in on when I first started buying. Of course, our average is down a lot lower than that, but 0.03233. And once we get back here and we get above this trend line, I think it's going to be off to the races, and I think you're going to have something like this, right? Where Ethereum Bitcoin goes from the bottom, right? We've already gone 40%. That's 70% up, right? 70%. Or just crazy. Anyway, keep an eye on the Ethereum Bitcoin chart. If you see Ethereum break out to Bitcoin, alts are going to ride Ethereum's coattails. And that's how we emerge into a face melting alt season. Just saying, and that is what I'm hoping for, but I'm not something like I'm 100% sure that's going to happen, because you never, ever, ever know. So I always have dry powder on the side. Now, what I would like to do next is we're going to take a look at some of the news and events of today. That was enough charts for now. So first and foremost, public service announcement. Crystal Finance, one of the DeFi apps that I like to use to manage especially Uniswap and now Aerodrome positions. They also can do Radium. They have so many chains on Crystal, and you can check out videos from previous streams and tutorials that we posted on Crystal, but they are issuing a Crystal Vault beta release. Dad's DeFi Space has received an invite, and we're going to be checking out the beta release of some of the vaults and Crystal. This allows us to farm multiple pools at once, right? I posted this on my X account, so if you miss any of this stuff on Twitter, you should consider finding us over on X, CryptoZone1013. Send me a message. Love to talk about crypto and DeFi investing with you. Anyway, the vault addresses, like I said, it's all new. I want to check it out. I'll report back. I plan on making a video in the near future. That's probably for another day. But I wanted to make you aware of it. Don't miss that one, and we'll be sure to let you know on the channel, on X, and our socials about this Crystal Vault beta release. All right, now to the news. First and foremost, we'll come back to this one in a minute. Yeah, that was a trade we took earlier today. I wanted to move on because I wanted to discuss the SUI ecosystem hack. The CETUS Protocol, which is one we've talked about on the channel before. We were using AlphaFi to farm a position. I've pulled my funds out of that position. I was not missing any funds, but there are people out there who are going to have to be made whole. So the CETUS protocol breach led to a severe price drop a few days ago of almost all tokens within the SUI ecosystem. It led to the theft of $223 million. Now I'm seeing numbers closer to like 300 million. The attack forced CETUS to pause all their smart contracts, and SUI and CETUS have been trying to stop the movement of the stolen money and track down the individual responsible. I think there's a $5 million reward for if you can find the guy. That would be nice. I mean, we don't like scammers and thieves, of course. Now, what happened is he was making a bunch of scam tokens and pulling liquidity out of the liquidity pools with there, like farming in a way. But it was tricky in the protocol that these tokens were actually worth something when they were not worth anything at all. So CETUS plummet, right? I mean, look at that. From 27, 26 cents all the way down to 15 cents. Yeah, it doesn't look good for them. And I liked what they were doing, but this is the risk we take in the DeFi space. And that risk is protocol hacks, scam attacks, ones that you and I wouldn't even begin to understand. That is why we never invest more than we can afford to lose. And we never put all of our eggs in one basket. I have multiple hot wallets, multiple cold wallets. I use multiple protocols, different lending protocols. If one goes down, I will be sad. I will lose funds. But I've lost that in trades before, and I won't lose everything. So many people in this space, they kind of like keep it all together like we're used to at a normal traditional bank. It's a absolutely terrible idea. Terrible idea. So the CETUS hack has not looked good for SUI, and people have been really talking about it because they were able to freeze some of the funds. And this was done by validators, about a third of them from what I see in my research. This is a big deal because is it really decentralized? A lot of cryptos out there are not decentralized. So if that is your reason, I would stick with Bitcoin, maybe Litecoin and Dogecoin. Those are decentralized enough. Cardano is pretty decentralized. And then there's a few others out there. And believe it or not, Solana's not as centralized as you think it was when I first started investing in it last cycle, which made a lot of money and then got my butt handed to me, held on too long. Right? Always take profits. Another rule for you. But what is this doing to SUI? Well, not SUI, CETUS. So just the other day, yesterday, CETUS issued a community update. They ran a Q&A format, so good for them for not running away. Hold on. And the assets held in SUI, they're currently frozen. They're secured by the validators, and they're going to hold a vote on what to do. Right? So the two potential outcomes is they try to get the community to vote on a recovery process for the frozen funds, or reaching a white hat agreement, or identifying the actors so we can do something about it. All right, hold on one second. All right, so that was my children. So I'm going to have to speed this one up a little bit. All right, so CETUS, as we were saying, positive development is their aggregator service is now working again, but this is not a good look. We need to watch this for a while. I'm not investing in CETUS right now. I still have my SUI Lend positions. I still have some AlphaFi tokens staked, and I don't know what we're going to do with the rest of our funds right now. So I will get back to our SUI ecosystem portfolio in the near future. But right now, we're just kind of holding our spot position, lending, and a little bit of USDC on their network. Anyway, moving on. the next thing I wanted to talk about, very bullish news in my opinion, and it involves Solana. Kraken, and they've been talking for a while, they're going to be tokenizing stocks, right? And Solana is going to be the blockchain they use. And this is hopefully to help power global US equity access. In fact, I'm considering starting to do a lot more of my any centralized exchange spot trading on Kraken. I use Coinbase, I've used crypto.com. I like Coinbase the best for user experience, but there are things about them I do not like at all. Even though I'm invested in their stock, it's done pretty well in my retirement portfolios. But anyway, this is bullish. Kraken's tokenized stock expansion is going to bring volume to Solana, access not just to the cryptocurrency markets, because it's going to bring some trade fi into cryptocurrency and vice versa, which is not a bad thing. Free trade is a good thing. We are capitalists on this channel. Let's just say that outright. And I see this bullish for Solana, and this is part of the reason I still hold a good size Solana position as far as my portfolio. Now, a little bit of news about Jupiter. This one excited me also. So Jupiter is coming out with Jupiter Lend. Now, we lend usually on Camino Finance. You also have MarginFi on Solana. I should make a video on MarginFi also. But Jupiter Lend is supposed to be the next level, the next generation of lending. We're going to probably look into this. In the near future, once we have some time to look at this, the beta vaults within the Crystal Finance Protocol. But the developers of the DEX on Solana Jupiter, they've unveiled now a lending platform. They are really trying to tie it all in. I like it. And their portfolio aggregator is pretty good. So we may need to do a Jupiter update video. It's about that time. We're still staking a nice little amount of our Jupiter, and that helped us to earn a little bit of the Huma airdrop, which we have not claimed yet, but I'll talk about that in the near future. What's interesting about this, right? What's interesting about this is when I saw this token hit exchange, I heard about the airdrop. I was like, here's a great token to short today. And that's what we did. We went over to Weeks. You can use our link below to earn some USDT rewards, help support the channel, of course. Lets me fuel a little bit of my click button addiction. I like to fool around with small little trades here and there, and then we take our extra money and we put it into LPs or lending positions or our spot positions. Build your portfolio, right? We've talked about that before, what we've learned through the UIG. Yield on yield. Yield on yield. Don't forget those two words. Now, Huma is a PayFi protocol on the Solana network. We shorted it at 12x. Our entry price was around 0.082. Now, what we got our hands on, we got at 0.06. We sold. We took some of the profit. We shorted it. We didn't get in quite as early as we wanted. I would have loved to get in around 9-10 cents. But we were able to make almost a 200% gain on a small amount of money. I'll take it and then pocket my couple $100 of Bitcoin. It's awesome. Anyway, if you're interested in shorting or long in the market, and remember, be careful with leverage. If you don't know what you're doing, 12x, way too much. If you don't know what you're doing, please paper trade first. Please just don't go over 5x leverage, and you should be okay. It will amplify your gains, but it also amplifies your losses. And we have been liquidated before. Not a good feeling. Okay. So anything I show, not financial advice. Be careful out there because you never know. But that was a good trade for today. Now, I have other ones I can show you that didn't look as good over the weekend. We got stopped out on some Bitcoin shorts when it pumped up to 110 last night. Oh, well. But we made most money back today on this trade. Thank you for taking some time out of your day to spend it with me. And I hope you've left a little bit smarter about crypto and DeFi, and that you can use some of this knowledge to up your investing game. Please check out our links below to Dad's DeFi Space and find me on X at CryptoZone1013 and Dad DeFi 1013. Remember, always do your own research and never invest more than you can afford to lose. And I'll see you in the next video, ladies and gentlemen. Peace.